How's it going, everyone? Got quite a bit to talk about in this video. As you guys probably know, a pretty notable free upgrade on PlayStation 5 will be dropping here very shortly. DBZ Kakarot, I've been recommending a lot of you guys, if you haven't played it, to check this upgrade out and check out the game in general. It's going to be coming at a very cheap price point as well. And along with that, of course, the game is getting some brand new content, and it looks like it's been hinted what the next batch of content is going to be as well. Obviously, come January 13th, we have one DLC pack dropping as a part of Season Pass 2, but more content is on the way. We'll talk that in a little bit. Speaking of free, a major free demo is available right now. We'll talk that briefly. Ys 9 has gotten a release date for the PlayStation 5 version of the game. Kind of a meme PlayStation 5 release, but nonetheless want to talk that, and a couple of good deals to round out the video. Really JRPG heavy in this video, so if you're not into that, maybe check out a different video. But yeah, big JRPG day for us. Alright, first of all, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot will be getting its free PlayStation 5 upgrade come January 13th. If you already own a copy of the game, it'll upgrade right on over to the PlayStation 5 version of the game. Obviously, DBZ Kakarot already has a plethora of additional content via DLC. If you don't know, Kakarot summarizes the entire Dragon Ball Z story arc. That includes the Frieza Saga, the Cell Saga, as well as the Buu Saga. I really shouldn't say summarize because it does a fairly good job of telling you that whole story with some omissions here and there. Some of them pretty glaring, but overall, if you want to get the whole DBZ story, you can absolutely do that with Kakarot. It's just me being a little bit of a stickler, and I probably am a little bit hypocritical when it says that, because if this happened to any other anime that I wasn't too familiar with, I would probably just be like, bro, you're just overreacting. But in the case of DBZ, I'm pretty familiar with the entire story arc, so whenever something notable is omitted, I was just like, gosh darn it, they did omit that, didn't they? In DBZ Kakarot, there was one glaring omission with Gohan right early in the game that I was just like, man, I don't know if that's something you should have omitted. But nonetheless, as I've said before, it does a good job of telling you the whole story, and it's an open world action RPG. Taking the story of DBZ, dropping it into that environment would be something relatively challenging to do, and they did a pretty good job. And honestly speaking, I didn't think they were going to take the entire DBZ story when this game was initially announced and make it into its entire game. I thought what they were going to do is do it Legacy of Goku style, where they were going to do one game with the Frieza arc, one game with the Cell Saga, and then one game with the Buu Saga. I don't know if that would have been more effective, and maybe that would have just been a little bit too drawn out if you tried to make a bunch of open world RPGs like that, but nonetheless, what we got I thought turned out pretty well. It ran fine on the PlayStation 4, but I would expect it to look and run much better on the PlayStation 5. We already got some before and after pictures, and what we've seen thus far has looked quite good. And as far as additional content, the base game will just get you that base DBZ story. The additional content available right now will get you some stuff from DB Super, and then also the Future Trunks arc where, that's the alternate timeline where the Z Fighters die and Trunks is kind of figuring his life out, and they have to live amongst the androids and whatnot. It's a pretty good story arc, pretty sad as well, but also, come this Friday, the latest piece of DLC as a part of Season Pass 2, so an entirely different Season Pass, will be dropping. This is, of course, Bardock Alone Against Fate, and we have a launch trailer for that as well, and on top of that, a tease at the end of the trailer noting coming soon with a silhouette of Goku from the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai art. Now, this is Goku from the original Dragon Ball, where Goku pulls up after, I believe they do a bit of a time skip, and then Goku just pulls up like 5 feet taller, and then everybody's like, who the hell is this? And then, yeah, it turns out to be Goku. That whole tournament was pretty good from my recollection. I haven't watched the original Dragon Ball in forever, so obviously maybe nostalgia romanticizes it a little bit, but I thought the original Dragon Ball was absolutely hilarious. Obviously a little bit of a tonality shift when you compare DBZ to the original Dragon Ball, but I thought Goku was like super likable. Like, he was super goofy. I mean, he's always super goofy, but I thought the goofiness really came through in the original Dragon Ball. Nonetheless, if that's the piece of DLC that we're gonna get as part of Part 2 with the Season Pass 2, I think that'll be pretty cool. Obviously, I think a lot of people would like to see something to do with Broly. I just feel like that's an easy way to get people to buy the DLC. It's also gonna be a thing of, I feel like DBZ Kakarot had enough content to justify the initial $60 purchase. Don't get it twisted, but this is a lot of DLC content, and ultimately, hopefully they do like the complete super edition, so you can get like all the content in one package and you'll be good to go. But if you just want to pick up the PlayStation 5 version of the game, you can get the PS5 box and all that good stuff for $19.99. That's just the base game, but the base game for $19.99 with that upgrade, I think that's pretty darn good. And again, if you have it on PS4, that's going to be a free upgrade for you to get as well. Alright, moving on from that, and staying on the topic of anime, One Piece Odyssey's demo is live right now, so this is going to give you 1 to 2 hours of gameplay, and the content is going to transition right on over into the main game when that drops on January 13th or January 12th on PC. The official page notes this product is a free demo version of One Piece Odyssey that allows the player to play the first part of the main game. The story progress of the demo version can be transferred to the full version, a new RPG from the hugely popular manga and anime series One Piece, commemorating the 25th anniversary of the series. The famed pirate Monkey D. Luffy, better known as Straw Hat Luffy, and his Straw Hat crew are sailing across the New World in search of the next island and the next adventure that awaits them. But during their voyage, they are caught in a storm and shipwrecked. They find themselves washed up on a lush tropical island surrounded by constantly raging storms. Separated from his crew, Luffy sets off on a grand new adventure to find his friends and escape the island. Dangerous new enemies, terrifying forces of nature, and more await them. Play as various members of the Straw Hat crew in a classic RPG set in the world of the popular One Piece anime. So that demo is available free. Everybody can jump in and download it. You know what? As we're getting closer and closer to the release of One Piece Odyssey, I'm getting pretty excited to actually check this game out. As somebody that only knows One Piece really based on the fact of my boys talking about it or just hearing about it on social media, you know, I feel like there was one particular story event that happened in One Piece, and I don't want to like say it just in case of spoilers, but if you're familiar with One Piece, you probably know where it is. And when it happened, I swear it was like world news. It was like all over social media, and I just found that hilarious. Obviously, One Piece is like culturally a phenomenon, especially over in Japan. Like, One Piece is huge over in Japan. I feel like it didn't click as much, and honestly, this is probably just me living in my own bubble, but I feel like Naruto clicked more over here domestically than One Piece did. Am I wrong about that? Maybe I'm wrong about that, but Naruto was the one that got all the the really well-received video games and whatnot as well. But again, I might be wrong about that. That just might be my fandom of Naruto showing. I also think what's doing One Piece Odyssey a lot of good, even if you're not a fan of One Piece, I see people excited for this game. It's part of that because this is like the first major release of the year. Like, it's really coming out at a time. Yes, we've got Forspoken and Dead Space Remake coming out, but that's at the end of the month. One Piece kinda is coming out in this quiet period where I think a lot of people are like, hey, we just came off a couple-week drought, we've been playing games in our backlog, we've been catching up on some titles, but it'll be nice to jump into something entirely new, and I think that's gonna be advantageous for One Piece Odyssey. Now, if the game turns out to be mid, I think that'll be an issue. I think the One Piece fans will still check it out and really enjoy it, but I think people like me that are really going into it from the standpoint of, hey, it's an IP I know, it's an IP that's raved about, and it's a JRPG, a classic JRPG, I'm interested in that standpoint, and I'm really hoping it turns out well because I want to see more high-quality anime games. For a long time, it was like mid-anime game after mid-anime game after mid-anime game, and now it seems like that narrative has shifted a little bit. You got DBZ Kakarot, you got Dragon Ball FighterZ, the Naruto Storm games have been received really well. One Piece from the Pirate Warriors games are generally pretty well received. Want to see Odyssey do well, and you know, could you imagine, like, this is obviously me being like a shill for Naruto, but I would play the hell out of a Naruto JRPG that's done in this kind of style. You kidding me? I would absolutely do it. Like, I played Naruto Path of the Ninja on the Nintendo DS way back in the day, and I enjoyed that game, and you know, I just think for fans of these IPs, you'll go through a myriad of different variations of these types of games, whether it be, you know, something that's an entirely new story or just generally going through the same story again. Like, I would love to play Naruto Rise of the Ninja or Broken Bond or a style of that game done in a modern way with the new content, etc., etc. I just think there's a lot of room for anime games to do pretty well. Just hoping One Piece Odyssey does turn out to be pretty solid all in all. Alright, next up, Ys 9 Monstrum Nox for PlayStation 5 launches May 9th in North America, May 12th in Europe. Now, this will be a release of Ys 9, and it will include all of the cosmetic downloadable content. The NIS America online store still has the limited edition in stock. It's $90, and it's a pretty solid limited edition, like, for everything that you get, but they are totally still in stock of it, so don't worry about it going out of stock. It includes Ys 9 Monstrum Nox Deluxe Edition for PS5, Chains and one disc official soundtrack, a Nails in the Coffin, a hardcover art book, Ys 9 prequel, the Last Sword short novel, the Monstrum's art collection, Monstrum Mugshot 200-piece puzzle, and a collector's box. All in all, I actually do have this collector's edition, not for PS5 of course, but nonetheless, if you want to get that, $90 for that. Alright, moving on from that, and lastly, I do want to note some good deals real quickly. Persona 5 Royal, the Steelbook Launch Edition, is still available over on Amazon, and it's 50% off for $29.99. It's Persona 5, Persona 3 Portable and Persona 4 are about to drop on PlayStation 4, so if you want to check out Persona 5 as well, this is a PS5 release, you can check that out. It does include the DLC content, so that's kind of nice. I mean, that initial $60 price tag was egregious, given that P5R constantly goes on sale, even the Ultimate Edition on PS4 for like $21, so $30 a little bit more palatable. GameStop's got Disco Elysium, the final cut, on sale for $16, a game I constantly rave about. Slower paced, methodical game with a lot of decision making, but excellent writing and a great narrative, a narrative-driven game. You know, if you're not a fan of that, if you want high-octane, fast-paced action gameplay, that's not what Disco Elysium is, but for $16, I think it's pretty good. A little bit cheaper than what it goes for digitally, which I believe is $19.99 on sale. And lastly, Tales of Arise, it's seeing a price drop over at Best Buy, and a really steep one at that. It is $11 off for 19 bucks. This is a great deal for Tales of Arise, which I think is a fantastic game, one of my favorite games of 2021, of course, among my top 3 to 5. Really probably among my top 2 is really like Ratchet and Clank and this. Just a great game, solid cast of characters, great gameplay, a technical step up for Tales of as a franchise, and I would strongly recommend you to check it out. I think overall, even if you're not big on the Tales of titles, this is going to be one that might win you over. Just overall, a really solid game with a lot of content as well, if that's something to draw you in. But that is going to do it for me. Again, DBZ Kakarot free upgrade drops on January the 13th. Along with that, a ton of new content coming for that game. Bardock Alone Against Fate drops January 13th. Season Pass 2 is teasing some original Dragon Ball content as highlighted over on Gematsu. Credit to them for actually having the picture and matching that together, because that totally reminded me of that scene where Goku reconnected with the whole squad, and Krillin especially, because Krillin stayed short. You guys know if you watch the original Dragon Ball. It was great. Great moment. One Piece Odyssey, the free demo, is available on the PlayStation Store right now. Go check that out. Your content and game time on that will transfer over to the official release if you do pick it up. Ys 9 for PS5 drops May the 9th, and some good deals rounding things out. Links to everything, as always, in the description box down below. That is going to do it for me. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.